Sorry.
6 practices in, about where you'd want to be, a little behind, a little ahead. How would you assess things?
I think it's, everything's process oriented, so the process is very good. I don't think results wise we're where we want to be, but I think we're a long ways away of where we want to be, but way ahead of where we were last year. I know that doesn't always come across in what you guys may see, but got some new guys, certainly some new guys up front, new coaches, but I really like where they're at, and I like how they approach it every day.
Well, it really only matters what it looks like in September.
Correct,
So it's
correct.
Now it could be rough.
Yes.
Did you? Trent was saying, you guys did a lot of install here, and after the break, it'll be just keep doing what you're doing and not really adding more to it. Is that how you feel like is the best way to approach this? Or?
Yeah, we will meet as a staff next week and say, here's what we have, here's what we need to fix. Is there really anything we need to add? We're not going to add just for fun. Like, we want to get good at what we do, get these guys really comfortable with what we do, with what our core is. But the big thing for them is, like, I want to see guys being confident and playing fast. I don't want them thinking. I want it to be, they hear the play, they're confident in what they hear, and they can go play as fast as they can, because that's who you see. And that guy's a good football player. Now that he's not thinking all the time, he's a much better football player. So that's kind of the goal for the back half of spring is let's get these guys playing faster, more confident, and not try to confuse anybody. Are there calls that we may not be able to account for that our defense brings, or things that we would have to game plan throughout the season? Absolutely, but let's just let them go, let them play fast, and see who can help us in the fall.
What would have been your impressions of Malik so far?
There's moments where you could tell that he knows it, but he's not confident in it, and there's moments when he's confident, and the kid, he's a player. He can make all the throws. He's got unbelievable leadership ability. He's fun to be around. He's here in the morning, every morning at 6 a.m. He's always here in the afternoons. The guy is a pro in that sense. We just need to keep working and get more and more confident and get him to where he feels really confident with what we're doing. I think we're on a good path, but there's good reps and then there's bad reps.
Is what you're asking him to do quite a bit different than what he'd been doing, or about the same, or?
More or less. There's some that's very similar, and some that we've said, hey, let's kind of do this. This is something that he feels really confident with. And some stuff where he said, I've never really done that before. I was like, let's just try it. See if you like it. If you don't like it, I'm not going to call it. Yeah. But just try it. Give it a shot. It's something that we've had success with before, so let's try it out.
A bit of a thinner running back room this time than it was at this time last year. Mm-hmm. What have you liked out of Cornell and Sala as kind of the two sophomores?
I think Cornell did a nice job running it today, specifically. I think, especially with that position, you don't really know until you see it out there. There's a couple tackles that he broke. There's a couple that we need him to step out of. So I think Cornell is coming along and developing other areas of his game. I think he's a good runner right now, develop the pass catching area. And then Sala is, he's staying on his feet, he's finishing runs. I think we know the athleticism, the burst, the size, the speed, it's all there. But he's going to be a huge part of what we do this season.
Is he kind of fitting more what Hank does as a real downhill guy? Obviously he works on a lot of the outside stuff, but does he kind of add that receiving ability that Jam had, or is that more Cornell's skill set? How do those two kind of parse that out?
I think that to say that Hank and Sala are the same, I would say no. There's a different skill set, different size. There's certain run schemes that you may feel comfortable with both of them, and certainly you may lean more one way or the other. Sala I think the speed is the thing that's different with him, and he's a bigger body. But just because you're bigger doesn't always mean you run harder. You guys know Anthony Hankerson runs hard, so we'll use all of them. We're going to need all of them. We need them to make plays, and we need the young guys to keep elevating.
You've got Danny in. Mm-hmm. What's it like, that relationship, and now that relationship kind of in a new context?
Yeah, I've known Danny for 20 years. His kids were in my wedding. Like, we're very close. It's really good for me to have somebody around. It's low ego, high intelligence. He's just awesome for me, and he knows he can be honest with me and say, hey, can't do this, or what do you think about this? So that he's been really good for me to have around.
When it comes to Malik, how much are you having to change the way you ran the offense last year to fit what he's best at?
We do. I mean, I don't think it's any mystery to anybody that he's a different athlete than Jabari or a different athlete than Giovanni was. I think that's pretty obvious to everybody. But we've got systems within our offense of the way we call things or different terminology that we use that adjust more to him. I think it's just, we're not going to put him in situations where he's got to run. I think, but there's a difference between a dynamic athlete who can make plays outside of the pocket and somebody who moves really well within the pocket. And he has very good athletic ability within the pocket. So moving around, evading rushers, he's very good at that.
Obviously, it's typical for defense to sort of be ahead at this point in the year, but how much do you gauge the offense and how they're playing right now when like you mentioned, it's this period of time where you're allowing them to be a little bit messy, play a little sloppy, just to figure it all out?
I don't think, we don't want that. It's going to be sloppy at times. I think what I'm trying to communicate to our guys is as long as we are all on the same page, and as long as you and I are doing what we're supposed to, and that correlates to how Nick does what he does, we're fine. It's when you and I are doing one thing and Nick's doing another thing, that's where bad plays happen. There's more plays are bad because of lack of communication than they are because poor scheme. And so getting these guys playing on the same page, understanding what they're doing, being able and ready to communicate that and be loud and talk is really what this is all about. We'll fix the scheme stuff in the season. We're not going out there and drawing up plays just specifically to beat Trent Bray's defense. We would have to be very specific to how we ran things if we did that. We want to get our core offense in. If they make a good call, hey, we'll deal with it. Let's get everybody on the same page with good technique, and we've seen a lot of that. Now we've got to fine-tune some of that technique stuff, and then we've got to make plays when we have opportunity to make plays. Quarterback's got to make throws. Quarterback's got to be better with their eye progressions, but that's kind of what we're after here. It's process-driven. It's not necessarily the result.
So is that sort of the area you feel like you guys still need to grow the most in, just the communication piece?
I think that's certainly a part of it. I think you're really harping right now on communication. You're harping on relentless effort, and you're harping on being deliberate out there with what your techniques are.
Anything else?
Second year, how was it like for you? How do you feel like you've grown or changed?
I mean, some of it's trial by fire. You make some mistakes and you learn, and I've certainly done that. But just understanding kind of what my strengths are, what I need to lean on other people for. I really like this staff, and I liked last year's staff, but this staff, the communication has been really good. We want that low ego, high output. Try to surround myself with people that are smarter than me. And people will be honest, and so I think we're on a really good path, and I think it'll lead to better results this fall. You guys good?